Ambitious women, entrepreneurs are beginning a movement to create a new way of business that focuses on collaboration and community. Together, we are shaping the way by using our intuition, our inner insight, and our creativity. Join us for inspiration, motivation, and transformation. This is your host, Luci McMonagle, and this is the Wealthy Wednesday Show. A special thanks to Gordon Reary for creating the music. You can find him on Facebook under Gordon Reary. So now, let's get started. Welcome to the Wealthy Wednesday Show. This is your host, Luci McMonagle. Today, I'm so incredibly excited. We have an international guest just for you so that you will be able to learn how to do your mission and your purpose. Nicola Grace is a best-selling author. She's an award-winning writer and a strategist, and she has gone from cancer to making history, saving a billion-dollar industry from ruin. And she now helps women entrepreneurs clarify and monetize their life's big mission and purpose so that you can make a big impact and transform the world while you're building your legacy business. Nicola Grace, welcome to the Wealthy Wednesday Show.
Thanks, Luci. It's great to be here. Hi, everybody.
Wow, I'm so incredibly excited that you're here. Hopefully I did not totally get overly excited when I was saying your short bio and stuff. You have such an inspiration for the women entrepreneurs, and you are so powerful in your own right, and you're really truly helping them to bring out what you call the mission and the purpose. Could you tell us just a little bit about your journey and how does this translate for the women entrepreneurs that are on here?
Sure. Like everybody understands this, that your journey is a journey, right? And it's a path of evolution. And while, from a very young age, I always felt that I wanted to teach. I loved this whole concept of teaching. It was what I wanted to teach and how to teach it that evolved over time. So I started out as a secondary school teacher, and then I followed my passion in dance and started teaching dance and drama, and then started teaching in the corporate arena because I had a bit of a stint in corporate training. And that path just kept evolving and evolving. And it was really the first time I had cancer that I discovered that there was something specific that I was here to do. Like I had a mission and there was a purpose to my life. And that came in a really devastating moment when I was plucking up the courage to call my mum and let her know that, that I had been given 6 months to live. And this little girl's voice said to me, "But I haven't done what I came here to do yet. I don't want to die." And I had so much regret, and that regret had pain with it. My whole body went into this spasm of searing pain. And I realized that a lot of things, that firstly, regret is painful in the body. When you're looking down the barrel of death, that all of a sudden you regret all of the things that you haven't done. And also that there was purpose to my life and there was something specific that I was here to do. And it was intricately woven with my life force, because when I finally found what that trajectory was, which was to go into the realm of transformation, and that evolved into transforming businesses that transform the world, then I got so excited and the life force came up in me, just threw off any illnesses, and I was able to overcome cancer. I had a miraculous awakening that sort of started that journey, and I haven't looked back ever since. And then, you mentioned at the beginning in my bio that I worked with a billion-dollar industry. I created a strategy that saved them from legislation that was literally going to close them down. And within 6 months, that strategy beat that legislation, but they had been fighting it for 7 years, but they hadn't been doing certain things. And I was a scholar of Buckminster Fuller, and I love the whole law of nature, law of attraction thing. And I had applied many of the strategies to what we were doing to this particular, to this campaign. And I noticed that things were happening, not if by magic, but like things were happening by magic.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it, when I was successful, my brother said to me, well, you need to learn how to apply that to business. And that was really the seed had just sprouted. And it's like, oh, right. So he said, and another friend of mine rather said, if you help people who are campaigning within an entrepreneurial flair like social business, social entrepreneurship and what have you, then campaigns that are going to transform the world, that are going to help people change their lives, that are going to help the planet, they're going to be more successful, or they're going to get off the ground when they're failing and they're not able to actually reach traction. So this whole idea came together for me in that moment, and I thought, well, we can't be volunteering to change the world. We need to get paid for it so we can apply all of our focus and our attention. So I started developing a model whereby you could get paid to do, something that you're enjoying and what you're expressing in the world, how you show up in the world. And its ripple effect is that it's making waves of change. And, today that's called entrepreneurial activism or social business, social entrepreneurship. So they actually have a name for it, whereas it wasn't quite really a big thing when I first started putting that model together. And I've been doing my work as the mission mentor, helping people clarify and monetize their purpose and mission in a social business context for 5 years now. Mm.
Wow. And because you do work with the women entrepreneurs, have you also noticed that there's a trend that there's more and more women entrepreneurs coming into entrepreneurship who do have this mission in their heart, where they want to find solutions for the devastating problems that we're facing today in this world?
Absolutely. And my audience is global, and it's men and women. And I'm actually finding that the trend is starting to happen with men as well. But women have always gone into business usually from a heart space, not always, but mostly from a heart space. Whereas traditionally men have gone into business from a head space of, I need to provide for my family or my future family. And that's allowed women to go into business for a more altruistic reason. But I think the two are coming together now, and there's more and more women going into business, partly because of the inequality in wages and the inequality in the discrimination in the workforce. So women are going, okay, great. Well, you know what? I'm going to make my own way in the world, and so that's been a trend for quite some time. But I think now more and more people are realizing, as the world is changing, even if you have a job, it's not stable, it's not guaranteed, because technology is advancing so fast that you never know when you're going to be replaced. The people are going, I need to have a business as well as a job. But most definitely women are leading the charge on social entrepreneurship. They are getting out there and creating businesses. But we had this conversation just before we started the interview. Unfortunately, there's more women are also failing in business and ending up in debt or not making enough money to survive. Yeah.
Wow. And that's kind of devastating, because so many women who are heart-based, they truly want to make a difference. They want to make an impact. They want to create a legacy. And what are your suggestions that these heart-based women would do on when they're along the way and they hit these challenges? Maybe challenges related to perfectionism or the imposter syndrome, etc.
Yeah. Well, my recommendation is that you will always need to be on a path of personal development and clearing the backlog of stuff that could be holding you back. But also, really, it has to start with making the decision to marry the money with the purpose and the mission, because a lot of women feel very enriched and enlivened and rewarded because they're doing something they love, and the one-on-one work that they do with people or with groups of people, or their product getting out, just the idea of a beautiful product getting out or a beautiful service getting out is rewarding enough for them. And that needs to change. The reward also needs to have in the equation financial recompense, because if it doesn't, then you're not saving enough for a rainy day, and we need to do that during times of downturns. You've got to have savings that you can pull into your business so you can keep going. You don't have enough money to grow your business, which means that you're not impacting more and more lives. And you need money for that, because you need money to get out there and get and buy leads, or do your marketing, do your advertising. And the bigger you want to go, the more money that you usually need to invest in that. So you need to be making a sizable profit that's growing on a trajectory month on month, if not year by year, because obviously it goes like that sometimes. And that profit can get taken back in and reinvested in you and your coaching and your education and in your business, so it can grow even bigger. And each time it scales, you're impacting more and more people's lives. Now, that all starts with a decision, because most women that I speak to go into business with a decision that they really want to make a difference, and they stop there. They don't go, you know what, I want to make a difference and I want to impact this many lives, which means I'm going to need to make that much money in order to be able to do that. So that needs to be in the decision as well. I'm going into business, I'm going to succeed at it, I'm also going to get personally rewarded financially for it, and it's going to be highly profitable so I can scale.
Absolutely. Wow. And that is so crucial that women entrepreneurs understand, and even just women in general, or the men that are listening to the show, is to really go into your business getting married to the money. And even if you don't believe it's all about the money because you're heart-centered, you have to understand that in today's society, we use money for an exchange of medium.
Mm-hmm.
And
be
able to really be financially compensated and start growing your business is going to allow you to create the legacy that you truly want.
Absolutely. And look, the majority of women retire in poverty because they've had a divorce, and they don't, and now they don't have their man carrying them over, and they never remarry. I mean, the majority of women on the planet right now of marriageable age are unmarried, which is unprecedented. We've never ever had that statistic before. It has always been the majority of women on the planet are now have always been married, and now women are choosing not to marry, or it's beyond their control. And I love what Kim Kiyosaki says: a man is not a plan. A man is not a financial plan. And it's time that all women wake up to that. And if you find a man that loves you and supports you forever and ever, then that's a bonus. But at least you're taking care of your future, and you're taking care of your own retirement, which means when you come together with a loved one, there's more to go around, and therefore there's more to give. Right? You can start being a philanthropist, and you can help those that are less advantaged than you. But at least you're the one that is in control of how you financially get to live, whether you live in poverty or whether you live in abundance. And far too many women that come across my desk and start working with me don't have a goal to live in abundance. It's astounding. I do surveys of my audience all the time, and the majority of entrepreneurs, in fact, I wouldn't call them entrepreneurs, I'd call them solopreneurs, but they have a goal to only earn $50,000 or $30,000 a year, which is not enough to pay your bills if you're the one that ends up being the primary, breadwinner. For whatever reason, and it's certainly not enough to grow you, because you don't have money to invest in yourself and invest in your education and coaching, and then you don't have money to scale your business so that you make a bigger impact with people. So there's a huge mindset shift that needs to happen in women if we want to be seen as equals on that level, and that is at least have a target of 6 figures or 100K when you go into business. Now, you may take smaller goals to get you there, but you've got to have that ultimate target to get there and go beyond, because that's where you're going to be able to grow. That's where you're going to be able to have a platform that you can save, and for your retirement, save for marketing and coaching and all the things that you need to be able to make that impact.
Wow, that is so incredibly important. And how do we create this good business?
Good question. Really good question. I mean, I have a very different approach from everyone else, and that is I want to go to your soul, and I want to go to, why is your soul really here? and why is it that you are what is it that you're here to do and be? And, again, let me make a few distinctions on what's the difference between purpose and mission, because when we know those two things, that becomes the foundation of your business. So life purpose is huge and it's general, and purpose is something that we can actually make up. It's not, this is my purpose. It's like, well, that's the purpose you've made up, right? You've made it up from your mind or from a sense or a feeling or what have you. Your life purpose is actually what the soul wants you to do, what path it wants you to go on, and how you're going to get there, and how you're going to learn, how you're going to evolve, how you're going to expand. So within your life purpose is being and doing. So how are you here to be? What being states are you here to help others achieve? And then the mission is the doing. What are you actually here to do? And what does that do in the world? Because all of us have a ripple effect. All of us have a butterfly effect. Whatever we do, whether it's negative or positive, it sends out ripples in the universe. And when those ripples get out, what I've discovered is that each and every one of us it's like a little drop in the ocean where we create change in the world. And some of us create massive change because we're directly working on a world problem. So when you know those purpose and the mission, and that's the self-discovery work, that's working with processes, working with a sounding board, working with somebody that can actually help you put all those pieces together, you've got the foundation of your business. And then the next step is looking at, well, who is it within your purpose that you're here to work with? Like, what's the niche? What's the niche topic? And who's the niche market? Because that's part of your purpose. And a lot of people, you said the word operating on one cylinder. They have an idea of the top layer of their purpose, but not all the underneath layers that can clarify who you're here to serve, where you're going to prosper, what's your message to that particular niche that's going to have them identify you as the person that they want to buy from. And then what's the actual mission? Like what's the problem you're solving, and what's the ripple effect of you solving that problem in your unique way? All of those come together. Then we need to look at your offers, your monetization model. Well, how does that go into your offers? Because a lot of people I see also just create offers because everybody says this is what you need to do to make money, but it's not necessarily in alignment with their purpose. And so if it's not in alignment, then they will struggle on the money part, with the mindset part in there as well too.
Wow. So how do we clarify deeper layers of the purpose to stimulate the business growth?
Oh, that's a good question, to stimulate business growth. Well, I've found in my journey that our soul's always leaving us clues in our thoughts and our hearts and in everything that we're doing, and also around us. So we need to start paying more attention to that and need to start deciphering them. And that's really awesome. And because when you start doing that, you start to get, clarity is the word I'm looking for. You start to get the clarity, and all the little breadcrumbs come together. And you can't escape needing to do the soul searching work, and you can't escape needing to do that self-discovery. So for me personally, I found I needed to do a process, and I needed to work with a coach, and then I needed to go out on my own and do some discovery work on my own as well. So all those pieces came together to help me figure out, what I was supposed to be doing, looking at all those clues and the processes. And there's quite a few processes out there. I'm going to be giving a free gift away, with my formula. But they get you to narrow your focus on where you need to be looking at and how you need to be pulling up that information from within yourself.
Wow. Wow. And the breadcrumbs always show up. It's just a matter of tuning in our focus, our lenses, so that we can actually see them and pay attention to them.
And yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that we'll get thoughts, we'll get feelings and stuff. Do we also get messages from other people around us?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Things will come out of you. I mean, like, that's what happened with me when I had my day spa, and I was thinking that that's what my purpose was. And that was a purpose that I had just made up so that I could have a sense of purpose. And
Mm.
I had somebody who was working in there. I had a doctor that was working in there as well, doing counseling. And he said, this isn't what you're supposed to be doing. This isn't what you're supposed to be doing. And he said it so many times that it was like, ah. Because I was so, like, I'm somebody who's so driven that I can drive myself to do anything. But it
Mhm.
all unraveled because it actually wasn't my template. It wasn't really what my soul wanted to be doing or how it wanted to be getting the transformation message out there. So, so it unraveled. And a lot of people come to that moment in their life where they have that transition and they go, gosh, I thought I was on purpose and now it's unraveling. And sometimes you were off purpose, but at other times you were on purpose. It's just that there's a higher level now and you've got to step it up so that you can expand, because every time we expand, we're fulfilling our soul's purpose, which is that of expansion and evolution.
Wow. And as we expand, there's so many of us that resist
Yes.
that expansion. So do you have any techniques or something really that somebody could take away with on how to remove some of that resistance to play a bigger game so that we can really fulfill that which we're here to fulfill?
Mm. Sorry, say that again. How do we get beyond
How do we
resistance?
remove the resistance to play a bigger game?
Yeah. So, well, you've got to put your focus on it, which is too many new agers don't. They go, oh, that's negative. I don't want to look at it.
Mm.
But we have a tremendous capability of transforming. So if we don't look at it, it doesn't mean that it's not there. It doesn't go away by ignoring it and not focusing on it. And I know there's a whole idea what you focus on increases, but there's a way you can focus on the resistance where it's not increasing, it's decreasing. And that is to just confront it head on and name it and go, I see I'm resisting this. And I'm just not going to do that. I'm making a decision. You've got to start by making a decision. I'm making a decision that I'm going to go onwards even though the resistance is still present. And you need to just apply more energy, because here's the deal. If we're looking at it from a law of nature perspective, the law that governs resistance is called Ohm's law, the law of resistance. And that is all about how much energy is going through the circuit in comparison to how much resistance. So the more resistance, the more energy you have to apply, or you reduce the resistance. So you don't always just have to be working on, getting rid of your negative beliefs, working with somebody on clearing, doing the healing work, doing the emotional, vibratory, purging and cleansing work. That's important. But if you're only doing that and you're not applying enough energy, there isn't enough energy in the circuit to reach your targets, to reach your goals. So there's that relationship between I have to apply more energy to overcome the resistance, as well as look at it from the perspective of transforming it back into the nothing from where it came.
Wow. Well, that's really, really powerful right there, what you've said. And to really understand, there's some things that you have to face head on.
Yeah.
Fear, when you face your fear head on, it shrinks.
It does. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to see what's on the other side. I mean, but fear is a form of resistance, is it not?
It can be, absolutely, yeah, because there's two types of fear, obviously. There's the false evidence appearing real, and then the fear of, like, the soul is saying, get out of there.
Correct.
So there's one more thing that I just quickly, about that, because this is huge in the New Age movement and the consciousness movement. The idea of turning away and going, oh, don't be so negative, or, oh, I don't want to look at that. That's really negative. I don't want to focus on all my negative thoughts. It's just negative, 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 right? That in and of itself is actually a declaration that the negative thoughts have a greater effect on you than you have a greater effect on the thoughts. So by you turning away and then just not dealing with it and just going, you know what, I'm not going to focus on it, you're actually making a silent undercurrent declaration that it's bigger than you. So when you confront it, you're making the declaration that I'm bigger than you, and I'm going to look at you and I'm going to laugh you out of existence.
Wow. Wow, Ray, that just gave me goosebumps. And it's
Cool.
so true.
Mm.
There's so many of the quote unquote enlightened, and not that they're not enlightened, it's just they don't want to look at the negative. They don't want to look at the bad. They don't want to look at anything that doesn't do or make them feel like completely happy, or then they're worried, oh my gosh, if I focus on it, it's going to manifest.
Yeah. And
And
it depends on how you focus on it. Because
yes,
I mean, I
yes.
wouldn't actually call that focusing. I would call it transforming. It's like, no, don't focus on it, transform it so you don't have to deal with it again and again and again. Because sometimes if there's something that's coming up from your subconscious mind that needs attention and you don't look at it and you don't focus on it, all you do is think about the positive, it snowballs and you start manifesting, a tap on the shoulder from the universe, and then a shove, and then the Mack truck, and then something happens and you go, but how come this happens to me? I'm so positive. And it's like, we've got layers to our mind. We've got our outer mind, we've got our subconscious mind, and we've got our superconscious mind, and they all need to be in alignment with positivity. So if you've got negativity in your subconscious mind, you need to transform it so that you've got that alignment.
Yes. So we're almost out of time. This has been so incredibly
Went by really quickly.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask, how does living your best life look? And then I would love to talk about the incredible gift that you mentioned a little bit earlier.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I think we've got to start defining what that looks like. And whenever we start defining what our ideal life looks like, I find most people cap it because they think, well, this is all that I can manifest, or this is all that I can handle. We don't get really big. And one of the things that I always encourage my clients to do is, when you're doing your vision boards and you're doing your vision, include how you want the world to be, not just you in your own little selfish arena and how great it is, you're abundant, you're doing everything that you love, you're able to give to charities, give to your family. Also put in there the ripple effects of how you want the world to be. Because at the moment, we've got some pretty scary things happening in the world. And yet we've got all these powerful manifestors not doing anything with that power to create change in that area. We're not putting into our vision boards that all of a sudden there's a solution to distribution, so we have no poverty. There's a solution to corrupt government, so now everything is really equitable and fairly distributed. There's a solution to violence, and so now we're living in a really peaceful world. Right? We've got to start thinking beyond ourselves if we actually want to create a better world. And so when you do your vision, expand it to what's possible for you personally, but also expand it to what you want to be possible in the world at large.
Wow. Yeah, that is so true. And we've never been taught to do a vision board that includes the globe.
Yeah.
Or includes the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if everybody did that, if all vision boarders and goal setters around the world started doing that, started adding how we want the world to be, we would make massive change rapidly.
That's so true. Absolutely. And you have a free masterclass. Could you tell us a little bit about this masterclass, and how can the audience get a hold of it?
Sure. It's a masterclass called Monetize Your Mission, Leave a Legacy, and it's my purpose to profit formula that shows you what you need to know to clarify your purpose, how to begin that journey, all of the different elements of your life mission and how you put that together into a business. I show you my monetization model that integrates with the laws of nature so that you're creating that that mass, that law of attraction factor. And then I've got there's a section in there too where we look at this thing called split brain hemisphere syndrome, which is why so many spiritual people and conscious entrepreneurs, women particularly, are not rewarded for what they do financially, because there's a split in our thinking. So money and reward is in one, and work is in one part of our brain, and purpose and love and passion and spirituality is in another part of our brain, and we've inherited that from our ancestors. So I start talking about whether or not you've got that split and how you get over it. And yeah, there's a lot of content, like a lot of masterclasses out there are just one big pitch from the beginning to the end, or 20 minutes of talking about them and their clients. I start the content literally within the first 5 minutes. It's like, bang, let's go for it. And people often watch my masterclasses several times just to get their notes completed. So it's very content rich. And you're just going to drop a link under this interview for people to click, and they'll go over and they can sign up for that.
Fabulous. So if you're listening to this, make sure you go back to the link that you found the show on and go to that link, and you will be able to access this free masterclass that will empower you on so many different levels, and it's content rich. So, wow, this has been phenomenal, and I am so grateful that you have been on the Wealthy Wednesday show. Is there any last words of wisdom or tips that you would like to leave the audience with before we say farewell?
Yeah, there is, and it's more of a motivational thing, or and an encouragement thing, and that is that if something's beating inside of you, knowing that you could make a bigger difference, and knowing that you could make a bigger impact, or that you want to make a bigger impact in the world, you want to change something that you don't like in the world through, offering your gifts and talents and services, then that's actually what you need to start figuring out how to do, because it's part of why you're here. You have that desire, so that it can give you the hint that you're here to make a much bigger difference than you think you are. And this is the time that we actually all need to be doing it. We cannot leave change up to the politicians, because they're in the back pockets of corporations, and there's so much corruption that it is going to be the business leaders and those that emerge into entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial activism that will make the changes in the world, and are making the changes in the world. So go for it. Don't hold yourself back.
Wow. Beautifully said. Absolutely beautifully said. So I want to thank you for being on the Wealthy Wednesday show. This has been a blast. I'm so excited that you were able to come in all the way from Australia so that you could be aired here. And you also live in Australia and New Zealand. Is that correct?
I'm from New Zealand.
Oh,
live
you're
in
from
Australia.
New Zealand and you live in Australia. So thank you for correcting that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And I wanted to thank my audience. You are the reason why I create the Wealthy Wednesday show every single week. And I'm so grateful for you. Go to our Facebook at facebook.com/Wealthy Wednesday show. Let me know, what did you think about this show? Let me know what topics you would like to listen to. And let me know if there's any expert guests that you would like to have me have on my show. So until next time, abundant blessings. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Wealthy Wednesday show. This is your host, Luci McMonagle, and I would love to keep in touch with you by giving you a very special gift that will help you move your business and your life forward. You can access this special gift I am giving to you at my website at lucimcmonagle.com. That's LuciMonagle.com for keeping in touch with me and getting access to a gift that will help you move your business and life forward. Until next time, abundant blessings.